Fight, little wolf, fight. Wanna entertain me? Bite, little wolf, bite. Let's see how you take this. Strike, little wolf, strike. Wanna be a man then? Fight, little wolf, fight. Little wolf, fight. You've made your worst mistake here. Might be your last one too. You'll have run out of bones to break when you and I are through. I'll teach you all the lessons your daddy never could. This cruel world doesn't give out presents just for being good. So fight, little wolf, fight. Wanna entertain me? Bite, little wolf, bite. Let's see how you take this. Strike, little wolf, strike. Wanna be a man then fight, little wolf, fight. Little wolf, fight or die, little wolf, die. Don't you know it's fight or fly, little wolf, fly. Or because you had to try, little wolf, try. Run away before you die, little wolf, die, little wolf, die.
Need some help?
What's going on here?
Is your plan to stand around? Cause I suggest you fight back.
I don't know how.
Uppercut him, now.
Whoa. How did I do that? This time now moving slow.
No, I just made your thoughts quick.
Whoa, that is so sick.
Alright now, let's try this again. I've no respect for bullies, those who impose their will. I've seen plenty enough to truly understand this kind of filth. Let's teach this dog a lesson in front of all his kind. One young wolf has a larger heart than all these men combined. Fight, little wolf, fight. Show them that you've got some fight. Little wolf, fight. Take advantage now and strike. Little wolf, strike. Don't go down without a fight. Little wolf, fight. Little wolf, get up and fight. Oh, maybe I pushed you a bit too hard.
Ow. Go back and cry in your corner. Make sure your mother hears. If she won't choose a man to adorn her, we'll bring blood and tears. Tell me, Athena, why you came to my aid.
May 27th, 1997, a tornado was photographed in the high plains of Gerald, Texas. 23 seconds later, another photo, and a couple minutes later, another. What the photographer didn't know was in just 8 minutes, 27 lives would disappear. Literally. In the days leading up to the ominous tornado photo, forecasts being issued for areas around Gerald, Texas highlighted a high likelihood of thunderstorms and a possibility of a couple of tornadoes. This prompted the SPC, or the Storm Prediction Center, to release a moderate risk for the local area, but this weather pattern near Texas was not really concerning, and it's honestly pretty usual for the area. By May 27th, the residents of Gerald are greeted by tranquil blue skies. For many residents of the town, poor weather was hardly evident, let alone the risk of tornadoes. But by noon, the predicted storms began to pop up to the northeast. Although the storms were very strong, the risk of tornadoes was still expected to be relatively small. But unbeknownst to both meteorologists and residents, subtle yet concerning fluctuations began to occur in the atmosphere around the storms. While small and difficult to notice, these fluctuations should be insignificant, but with a perfect mix of ingredients, they can cause huge problems. Suddenly, a deadly scenario begins to reveal itself. A single storm quickly becomes dominant just to Gerald's northeast, near Waco, Texas, and it begins to move towards the southwest. This is the opposite direction of how a typical thunderstorm would travel, which placed the otherwise unthreatened residents of Gerald and surrounding areas in the firing line of a rapidly intensifying storm. At 1 p.m. CDT, a funnel cloud appears from the sky, and soon enough, a full tornado dropped down near Moody, Texas. The tornado meandered around a mobile home before destroying it and then immediately dissipating. This odd tornadic behavior would certainly not be a first on this day. Another tornado drops down from the supercell, and then another, and another, and another, all beautiful and all incredibly weak. By 3 o'clock p.m., the storm is only 5 miles northeast of Jarrell and is drawing closer. It is now when the odd weather conditions start to display. As in an instant, a needle-like tornado reaches down from the storm clouds. Although rather small, its size is deceitful. Within the narrow funnel, winds are already very intense. Any hay bales or trees unfortunate enough to be struck are shredded instantly. This shredding of anything it could touch shrouded the base of the funnel in dust. As it passes less than 1,000 yards near the small community of Prairiedale, a farmstead is struck. The tornado is now even more dangerous, as it's shrouded in sharp metal and splintered wood, but just as it seemed the tornado was intensifying, it suddenly weakened. The residents of Jarrell took a sigh of relief, believing they had just narrowly avoided disaster. But little do they know, Mother Nature is playing a cruel trick. In less than a minute, a stronger dust cloud swirls up from the ground. A large, cone-shaped funnel begins to descend from the sky. Within the swirling chaos, a strange phenomenon is spotted. Several different funnels begin to appear, forming the distinct look of a multi-vortex tornado, a unique and intense type of tornado. Scott Beckwith is working at Jarrell Farm Supply when over the business's weather radio, he hears word of a tornado in Jarrell. Stepping outside, he rounds the building to the east end, where he quickly spots the massive snake slithering in the sky. In a rush, he runs back in and grabs his camera, taking pictures of what he's seeing. The first image looks straight out of a movie, and the ones following show a gorgeous twister dancing around in the sky. A brief gap occurs in the images until the next one is taken, but this one showed something much more sinister. What was initially a small rope tornado has now formed into a messy and large vortex with copious amounts of dust spraying outwards. In the next image, the tornado appears to grow even larger, and as the tornado progresses and the debris cloud briefly disappears, the beast emerges. The next image, however, would be one of the most infamous images ever taken of a tornado. The tangle of vortices from the intensifying tornado paint the picture of legs in motion, as if the tornado is walking. This type of image dates back centuries to ancient urban legend and is called a dead man walking tornado. Not only is this a terrifying description, but it would morbidly allude to what was about to occur. In mere minutes, the tornado would practically walk into Jarrell. Almost immediately, as the dead man walking image is taken, the tornado begins to tear up the ground. In a cotton field, 18 inches of soil is scoured away, exposing the bedrock. This ground scouring is showing that, in some strange evolution, the tornado has now become incredibly strong and violent. In a different field, a herd of cows are caught in the tornado. Cotton plants ripped up by the tornado now contribute to a sandblasting effect, where anything or anyone caught in the tornado will suffer bits of vegetation and dirt, rapidly scoring against it like sandpaper. The cows in this field, subjected to the force, are reportedly skinned by the wind and debris, in some cases down to the bone. If this could happen to a cow, imagine what would happen to a human in these winds. During this initial display of power, the first home is hit and reduced to pieces. Here, the storm shelter of the property has its 5-inch thick concrete roof torn off, and it's never found again. Fortunately, no one was home at the time. The tornado then moves onward towards a farmstead on County Road 308, obliterating all structures located there, including a barn, multiple grain silos, and a home. Luckily, no fatalities or injuries were reported here, suggesting no one was home at this property either. With all the thick soil being gouged out of the ground, the tornado quickly gains an ominous black color. The funnel grows steadily, swallowing up an increasing vast area of land. It isn't long until the tornado is approaching 3/4 of a mile in width and is now crossing into a subdivision named Double Creek Estates. Sirens have been blaring for over 10 minutes, allowing the residents to find appropriate shelter. 5 members of the Igo family arrive home to take shelter, as the tornado is only minutes away. At this point, the tornado appears less like a conventional funnel and more like a monstrous fist dragging itself across the ground, directly towards the subdivision. Their last view before they slam their door is the rolling cloud of debris beginning to consume the nearby recycling plant. As the Igo family hurries into the central room of their home, the most appropriate shelter at their disposal, they can only pray it is enough to protect them from the worsening conditions outside. Meanwhile, at the recycling plant, all hell is being let loose. Steel beams are warped and snapped, Nearby roads are subjected to such extreme winds, over 500 feet of asphalt is stripped away as the forward movement of the tornado begins to slow. The cloud of steel and mud begins to envelop the Igos. The sandblasting effect of the winds smashes in their windows and allows the torrent of air to begin tearing apart the structure. In an extremely horrifying turn of events, the tornado begins to slow down until it's practically stationary over the home, but it doesn't weaken, allowing the strongest winds to pound and tear their home minute upon minute. The effect is much the same as a huge power washer scouring the paint from their car before crushing and mangling it to the point where you can't even tell it's a car, and disassembling the home's walls before reducing the bricks to basically dust. It is minutes before the winds subside, but no mercy is ever given to the Igo family, as all 5 do not survive. The tornado slowly crawls forward, no faster than a walking pace, towards its next target, the Moring household. John and Michael Ruiz, realizing their trailer home will offer no safety from the approaching winds, rush to the neighboring Moring family to shelter with them. Lacking an underground shelter, they quickly head to the most interior room of the well-built brick home. But tragically, much like the Igo family, the tornado shows no mercy. Within seconds, the walls cave in upon the 6 victims, pinning them as pieces of rebar, grass, and wood rain down on them. Before long, the debris itself is bombarded with such ferocity that no large objects even remain. Within the chaos, all 6 individuals are killed and left buried in a pile of basically brick and wood powder. To the north and south of the same road, the tragedy continued. To the south, Cindy Smith and her 2 daughters perish as the home they are sheltering in is lifted into the air by the tornado. The home was obliterated so significantly, no discernible debris remains in the area. Simultaneously to the north, the LaFrance family is sheltering in their bathroom as their roof is ejected into the sky. The father, Billy, feels the winds beginning to tug on him, causing him to grasp to the sides of the bathtub in an attempt to continue shielding his wife Debbie. The last thing Debbie sees before the house crumbles onto her is her husband slipping away into the darkness. As the bathtub becomes mobile, she embraces her daughter in an attempt to save her, but quickly loses consciousness. Because there are nearly no storm shelters in the Double Creek subdivision, these families had no other choice than to try and survive the storm above ground. However, a select few have the fortune of a storm cellar on their property. 6 members of the Hernandez family seek refuge in their storm cellar as their home was swept away above them, whilst those seeking above ground shelter in the neighboring homes do not survive. At a different storm shelter, Michael Vrana, along with 18 other people, sit cramped and in fear as the winds howl above them. Many fear the cellar door will be torn off as the roar of the winds climb and climb. Thankfully, the tornado passes by without incident, and everyone in the shelter survives without a scratch. Without these 2 storm cellars in Double Creek, there's no doubt that many more people would have died. Although no more than 25 structures are impacted in Double Creek, a total of 27 people are left dead by the time the vortex leaves the community. The damage at directly impacted homes is incredible. Even among the most powerful tornadoes, debris from the destroyed homes indicates to an observer that there was once a structure located there. In Double Creek Estates, this is not the case. To someone viewing the aftermath, most would assume the area was never developed in the first place. Where homes once stood, only bare foundation slabs remain. Not even the plumbing is spared, as in many cases, it has been ripped up from deep within the concrete and shredded. Although the destruction is clearly attributed to the insane winds, there's no doubt that the slow movement of the tornado was a major factor that allowed the tornado to pulverize the community beyond anything in recorded history. While this could undoubtedly be referred to as the worst tornado damage to have ever been inflicted, it arguably isn't even the strongest tornado. But after the tornado finishes its rampage through Double Creek, the time it has before it dies is limited. It meanders to the west towards an unpopulated forest before slowly shriveling up and dissipating. But even before the tornado is gone, first responders and EMT crews are rushing to the hellish scene to help survivors. When they enter Double Creek, they discover that there's little hope that anyone in the path is alive. In the core of the damaged path, it is found that the survival rate above ground was 0%. First responders are joined by civilian volunteers in what is now victim recovery. At first, the search didn't find anyone. It isn't until closer inspection that the remains of the victims are identified. The identities of the deceased can only be found through use of dental records. As a seemingly futile search for survivors continues, the unbelievable occurs. By a peach tree just north of the core of the damage, Debbie LaFrance is found badly injured but still alive. To this day, she maintains that if this tree, located in her backyard, wasn't there, she surely would have died. But the miracle continues, as just down the road, her daughter is also found injured but alive, sitting on the ground hundreds of feet from where her home once stood. Unfortunately, Billy, who protected Debbie and his daughter in their bathtub, did not survive. In the years following the tornado, Double Creek Estates would rebuild, but a large void had been left in the tornado's wake. 3 entire families had been killed, as well as 13 children. In memory of the victims of May 27, 1997, the Jarrell Memorial Park was established and funded by relatives of the Igoe family. The park itself resides on the former site of the Igoe family home. 27 trees that line the entrance represent the 27 victims that died that day.
I'm way too sentimental. I like to hold on to things that are inconsequential. Caught in the middle, can't pick a side. Can you give me a little time? 'Cause I gotta catch up on fire. Yeah. You're calling my bluff, can't keep a straight face on. It's in violation of panic running rapid through my brain. Can't take the chemicals in my head, making me obsessed. Where I wanna be versus my trajectory. Feel like a sinking ship. What is rushing in? I don't need sympathy, I just need some therapy. Over my head. Over my head. It's not productive, can't seem to figure out just what the rush is. I'm self-destructive and my behavior is not conductive. Electricity in my chest is always keeping me stressed. Such a dichotomy, social lobotomy, society's